Hi guys, before we get into this show, this is a quick message to say that this podcast is sponsored by Ant Podcast Management. That's our own company. Ant stands for Amy Nick Thompson. If you or your company want to start a professional podcast or need help running an existing one, then we have got you covered. We can simply provide an editing service or go all the way up to full podcast management. Visit ant-podcastmanagement.com for more information. Enjoy the show.
Hi guys, you're listening to What the Faux Travel Podcast, and this is our fucking bonus episode.
This is a nice surprise for you guys, isn't it?
I know, so we've never done one of these before, so it's all exciting. But yeah, this is a bonus episode, and the reason we've done that is because we've done a wonderful interview with a lady called Kate, which we'll tell you about that in a bit. But should we start off by saying that we went to the Adventure Travel Show in January?
So that was, January the 24th in Olympia, London, the Adventure Travel Show. I think I just happened to see it on Twitter, and I thought, this looks really good. The more we looked into it, we're like, oh my God, this looks really good. I suppose the most high-profile speaker was Simon Reeve, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And we thought, we like his programs, let's go check it out.
We're so obsessed with him. We watch all of his programs, don't we?
Yeah, so as well as speakers, there was companies exhibiting, and really you can go along and get some good deals on some tours and some trips.
Oh yeah, like even one company was doing buy one tour, get the other free, which is unbelievable. And you'd think, okay, so I have to do one trip with you and the second one's free. But no, if you go together, so for example, if we went together, we'd just pay for me and then you'd go free.
Amazing, yeah.
Amazing deal. So if you do get the chance to go next year, we'd highly recommend it.
Yeah, so while we were there, after his talk, we actually got a chance to meet Simon Reeve.
We did, and we all got really nervous and shaky.
And the funny thing is, I must have looked like such an idiot because I gave him our podcast business card. I'm like, there you go, Simon.
No, wait. That is not what you said. Do you want to say what you really said to him?
Well, I thought I'd try and act cool and confident. So I'm like, all right, Simon, I've got something for you, mate. This will change your life. And he was like, what? So I got a business card out, handed it to him, and he's like, what's this? He's like, travel podcast. I'm like, yeah, I'm sure you do a lot of like long, boring bus journeys or plane journeys. Something to entertain you. That's probably now in the bin.
Well, I'd like to think that he
might be
our
listening
back.
right now.
He might. Simon, we love you, okay?
Love you, Simon.
And also, while we got because I got a bit awkward and starstruck as well, he accidentally hit me in the face.
He did. Was he trying to, like, when you were hugging, to say hello or?
So I was kind of in the mid of, throwing my hair over my shoulder in a really casual way. And as he did it, because I said I have a question, and so he put his hand in front of me as if like for a pretend microphone. Yep. As he did that, I flicked my head at the same time, and it was all a bit awkward, and we just both kind of ignored that it happened. It's really awkward.
Also at the show, in the exhibition hall, we met a guy called James. I think he runs his own company called Untamed Borders. Basically, he doesn't like to use this phrase, but for want of a better phrase, they do dark tourism.
Yeah.
So they run tours to places like Afghanistan, Iraq, Somalia. And,
which is so exciting.
And really interesting. We had a good chat with him. And we've spoken since. We're going to hope to get him on the show in a few months' time to do a dark tourism special.
Definitely.
Which, I think will be really fascinating.
And we're hoping to one day go to these places.
Yeah.
Which is pretty scary, but at the same time, we hear so many things in the media about these countries that really put it down, and so they don't really have the whole tourism side to their countries. But, we can change this. It can all be changed, and we can promote what's going on over there.
Yeah, well, the best way to be educated is to go and see it for yourself. Like,
Absolutely.
We hear the bad stuff, but there's so much good stuff happening in these countries.
I bet your mum's screwing right now if she's listening to this.
I didn't even think of that. And for a fact, if we do ever go to these places, we're going to have to tell our parents, we're just going to go to Spain for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, lie about it, because they won't want us to go, obviously.
They didn't want us to go to Cambodia.
That's true. But we went anyway.
Mm-hmm. So we also spoke to another company called Earthbound Expeditions. They're based in Nepal. They run all sorts of like treks and tours in Nepal. But more interestingly, you can do some volunteer work with them, and it's completely free, which volunteering should be. If you look online, you can find all sorts all over the world. Pay $2,000 to volunteer for a week. Their advice was never ever pay to volunteer.
Yeah.
I like what those guys are doing, so I'm happy to give them a shout out. That was Earthbound Expeditions.
And they were just the nicest people as well, because we got talking to one of the women who was helping them out on the day, who's called Lynn. And she said that she kind of got to a point in her life where she was like, right, I need a change. I'm going to stop my job and I'm just going to go and help other people. So she said she just got to one of her big birthdays, which she didn't tell us what it was, but I'm sure it's your 30th, Lynn. And so she went to Nepal and met all these different people, and she's now kind of helping the company out and volunteering with them and promoting the company, and she was absolutely lovely. She then introduced us to one of the guys who runs the company called...
Yeah, Rajan.
And yeah, they just seemed like a really nice company who are more about the human beings rather than like the money side of it. So if you are planning to volunteer, please, please, please go with these guys because they are just beautiful people.
Speaking of, the next group of guys, we didn't meet them, but we saw one of their talks. They are the Meek family.
Yes.
So father, wife, mother, with their 2 daughters. And the father and the daughter are on stage, doing a Q&A. And how old do you think she was?
The one that was on stage?
Yeah.
I think she said she was 12.
Yeah, something around that, if not very early teens maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever people ask her questions, she opens her mouth and it's just like this 30 or 40-year-old talking.
So educated.
Got, so much like wisdom from... they're basically a family who just travel the world together.
Yeah.
They took the kids out of school. The parents were both teachers themselves, which I suppose might be an advantage because you kind of know...
Definitely
you
advantage,
know what to teach the kids. But they just homeschool them from their, I think, a caravan, and they just travel the world.
Well, I think it's more of like a mobile home. The caravan doesn't really...
you know what I meant. But whenever this girl spoke, you were almost in tears.
I genuinely had a tear come out of my eyes. Like, it was more shock, like, to see this young girl and the way she was speaking about life. And so not only educated, but yeah, like you said, with the wisdom, and she knew the best ways to get through life. She had some questions from the audience saying things like, what do you do when you get to a bit of your adventure where you get scared? And she just went through this whole thing of, when I get scared, I just think about practicing and then you're going to get good at it in the future. And, she was amazing. Absolute credit to the parents.
Yeah, the girls are very impressive. And the youngest girl came on the stage very briefly, and it was to announce the winner of a competition or something. Yeah. And she came up, and she was, how old do you reckon she was?
I think she was like 7, 8.
Yeah, and she got on stage, all this confidence. She pulled a name out the hat. She said the wrong name, but then she was like, oh, wow, I just got the name completely wrong. That's embarrassing. And the way she said that on stage made us all crack up.
It's just because, like, normally, like an adult, you'd be too scared to even say that. You'd just be like, oh, sorry, got the name wrong. But she was just kind of taking the mick out of herself. It was really funny.
Yeah. So finally, through an organisation called the Yes Tribe, which we will explain in more detail in this interview. So we met this group called the Yes Tribe, and through them, we met Kate and Andy, and they are attempting to stand-up paddleboard the whole length of the River Danube. We spoke with Kate on the phone, and we asked her if they were going to be the first guys to attempt this.
It's not the first people to attempt to do it. So there's actually been quite a few people who have attempted to stand up paddleboard from source to the sea, but no one's actually managed to do it yet for various reasons, or people have started further downstream for various reasons.
Okay, so you'll be on a stand-up paddleboard, along the River Danube. And me and Amy were talking earlier. Is that how you pronounce it? Danube?
Yeah, Danube. That's right.
We got it.
It's spelled with a B, isn't it? So you get quite confused with it.
Yeah, that's right. But actually, in the kind of the German way of saying it, it's the Donner, so it doesn't even have a B in it in that kind of sense. So we spell it weird in English.
Oh, okay.
So all the way from source to sea along the River Danube. So,
yes.
How do you and Andy know each other?
So we got to know each other very recently, actually, only last summer, through something called the Yes Tribe, which is fronted up by the explorer and adventurer Dave Cornthwaite. So the best way to find out about that, instead of me going into a long spiel, is just to have a look at the Yes Tribe on Facebook or Google Dave Cornthwaite. So, we got to know each other last summer on one of the campouts that he did while camping in London.
Cool, okay. And why are you doing this trip? Like, where did the idea come from?
So, the idea came from me, actually. I sort of said to the group on this campout that I was thinking about doing a trip by river. I love water, I always have done, but I didn't know sort of by kayak or sort of what form I was going to take, and Andy just sort of said, yeah, that sounds cool. And then we were meeting, just a bit random, but we were meeting in a pub a week later, a group of friends, and got onto the conversations about rivers that we loved and what sort of new sports we tried recently, and paddleboarding came up. And by the end of the the pints that we were drinking, we were shaking hands and agreeing to do this. So that's sort of where the idea came from, quite randomly. Why we're doing this is various reasons. I mean, we both, like I said, we both love water. We both have a real passion for Europe and kind of getting under the skin of different countries we've travelled to or lived in. Yeah. But neither of us have really paddleboarded huge amounts. We've only really done it for an hour or a couple of hours on holiday. So we thought, instead of doing kayaking, that we've both done quite a bit of, we'd challenge ourselves and do something a bit different.
Yeah, wow, that's really amazing. So earlier you were talking about the Yes Tribe, and that's kind of how we met you as well, through the travel show in London.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and since going to that travel show, we've been on the Yes Tribe Facebook, and I just really want to tell people that how amazing this group is. Like you just said, you met this guy and now you're suddenly going on a trip together, which is amazing. And I just really want to promote the Yes Tribe. They're amazing. Like when we met them, they said they were doing a cycle trip from London to Paris. And I'd only known them for about 5 minutes, and they were like, "Why don't you come with us? Just come with us." And I would have loved to, but unfortunately, I was really busy the weekend they were doing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's such a good group.
It's an amazing group, and the thing is it's a worldwide group as well. It's not just based here in the UK. They're sort of springing up all over the place, and it's a community in that it's just full of people who kind of want to just really get to know what their passion in life is and go and chase it. And that might be actually a corporate job that they're just really, really good at.
Yeah.
And some of the tribe are, they work in central London, and that's their love and their passion. But they'll also go wild camping in the evenings and inspire other people to kind of go and find their passion for life. And that's what the Yes Tribe is all about. It's a community of people that just support each other, encourage each other, and say yes to a lot more stuff, a lot more adventures, and a lot more of just kind of, I don't know, almost stepping out of your comfort zone and finding what life is really all about.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's like that film Yes Man with who is it, Jim Carrey?
Just say yes to everything. Yeah.
That's exactly it. Although we're nowhere near as funny as Jim Carrey.
So now, what countries will you pass through on this trip?
Okay, so it's actually quite a few. So this was another reason why we chose this river, is because it actually passes through more countries than any other river in the world.
Oh wow!
Which makes it really quite a special river. So it goes through 10 countries altogether. So it starts in Germany, and then it goes into Austria, Slovakia, and then it goes into Hungary and Croatia. It then kind of dips and goes into Bulgaria, then Romania, finally going into Moldova, and then it finishes actually kind of in the Ukraine, and Hungary. It's kind of the border of the Ukraine and Hungary, going into the Black Sea.
Well, that's a hell of a trip.
I know, that just really shows the length of what you're actually doing.
So how many miles or kilometres is that?
So it's just shy of 3,000 kilometres, so sort of in English speak, that's about 1,850 miles roundabout.
Wow.
And so, yeah, it's quite a long way. And actually, I sort of agreed to do this in true Yes fashion, not really knowing huge amounts about where it started and all the countries. I knew it went through about 7, but I didn't realise it was 10. And I got home and Googled it and just followed the river and kept on following and kept on pushing the screen of my computer further and further right. It was amazing. So,
oh,
yeah,
wow.
That's how I kind of found the route.
Yeah. So how long will it actually take?
So we've given ourselves 3 months. So we're kind of hoping to average 25 miles a day. So we'll travel for sort of 9 days camping at night, and then we'll have the 10th day off every sort of 10 days retrospectively. So we're hoping around about 3 months, but we've sort of said that we don't really want to rush it. A huge passion of both of ours are people, and just kind of getting to know people who live on the river, who work on the river. And so, if we bump into sort of a school of kayakers or a sailing club or just people who work and live, and it's a busy river. It's an amazing river. So we've said 3 months, but if it takes a little bit longer, it takes a little bit longer.
Yeah, that's nice. I like the fact that you've left yourself plenty of time. Yeah, when opportunities come up, you can take them. You don't have to stick to a tight schedule.
Definitely.
Well, exactly, and you just never know what's going to crop up, and we've hopefully got people coming to join us, because you can cycle alongside the Danube as well, or you can run alongside it, or you can hire kayaks for a couple of days. So we've got different people coming out at different times. My brother hopefully will come out for a few days and just join us from Budapest and then kind of go from there just for a few days with us.
Yeah, nice. So have you actually been to any of these countries before?
Yeah, so I've been really lucky in that I used to actually live in Stuttgart in South Germany, and I spent a summer working and living in Austria, and I've been to Hungary, Croatia, Romania, and I went to Slovakia just for a really short amount of time. So I've been to quite a few of them. I think Andy's been to one.
Oh, wow. So it's going to be quite an experience for him then.
Yeah, and I think that was also like he was in the airport and had a few hours to spare.
Oh.
So for his kind of excitement, it's going to be all brand new. But for me, it's just getting to see some of these places that I fell in love with South Germany years ago, and kind of going back there and seeing it from a completely different perspective as well. And that's another reason we chose stand-up paddleboarding, because in a kayak you're sort of sat down in the river, which is wonderful, and you're part of the river and it's beautiful. But stand-up paddleboarding, you actually get to see it an awful lot more. So that's kind of another reason why we chose that sort of mode of transportation as well.
Have you done anything like this before, like a proper adventure travel trip?
Not to this scale, no. I've been up Kilimanjaro a couple of times.
Oh, wow.
And he's done, I was really lucky to go with my dad a few years ago. He used to live out there, so we kind of went as a father-daughter sort of trip.
That sounds really good.
Wow.
It was beautiful. It's a really great mountain. I'd highly recommend it to anyone.
I just picked up on something. Did you say that you've also lived in Germany as well?
Yeah, so I was based down in Stuttgart for sort of on and off for a couple of years, but I lived there for the best part of the year in one full sweep. My ex-boyfriend was German, so I went backwards and forwards a lot.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Can you speak German like fluently?
Well, I studied it for about 2 months and then just lived there. So I think I'm not completely fluent, but I can get by pretty much. And I haven't spoken it in a while, but I know it comes back quite fast. So it should be all right. But I speak with quite a heavy dialect, so I don't know if they'll actually understand me. But we'll see.
Don't worry, I don't speak German. I'm not going to test you.
That's good.
No. So, what have you guys done as far as training goes for this? Have you done much, or
well,
not
didn't
really?
you say earlier you've done it for like an hour, or was that? No, that wasn't kayaking, was it?
No, that was right. Yeah, it was. So I came across stand-up paddleboarding when I was in Thailand on holiday with my sister last year, and I did it for an hour then, and Andy did a couple of hours in America on the Hudson River. But we've been really lucky in that we've had some amazing supporters come on board with us. So Origin, who have provided our boards for us, and they're absolutely gorgeous inflatable stand-up paddleboards. We've had them for a couple of weeks now, so we've been out in the water just in London like a few times, so that's been good fun.
Yeah.
I absolutely stoked it on my first time, which was brilliant. So if you want to check out those pictures, you can on our website, which is hilarious. But yeah, we've kind of been saying we almost don't want to overtrain. But we know that this is you can't really train for this kind of thing like completely, because actually the motion of paddling, well, you can't really do that in the gym. And we don't have huge amounts of time to be going out because we're both quite busy here, involved in different projects in London. So yeah, we've kind of been training in that we're trying to get fit and strong. I love to run and I love to climb, so that's quite easy. And Andy, like you said, just biked from London to Paris in 3 days. So it's sort of just getting strong, but not worrying about it too much and just getting all the gear ready. So we've been really lucky to get some supporters from Palm and from Aquapack, and we've just been sort of trying to prepare that side of it more than the actual paddling side. Yeah,
well, obviously you'll have more than enough time to get good at that while you're on the trip.
3 months of practice, I think we'll be all right.
Exactly. So you said earlier, like all the places you've been during this trip, that you've been to them before, but are you both keen travellers? Like, where else in the world have you been?
Yeah, we're both fairly keen travellers. Andy's done a lot more sort of travelling with work. So he was one of the managers and overseers of an events organising company. So he did a lot of work travel, but he's also, been across Asia a lot and really has a passion for that part of the world. And I've been really lucky in that I've had opportunities to go to quite a few places, both in Europe and in Africa. So I lived in South Africa for the best part of 8 months, and
Wow.
went and spent time in Tanzania and Kenya, and then I've also just travelled sort of for fun, but also sometimes for work into Asia and some place in America as well. So we're both keen travellers. We just love it, you know. It's that stepping off the beaten track and sort of getting to know people and places, and just having time as well. I mean, that's another thing we're really excited about. It's just having time to really explore places as we go through them.
Yeah, definitely.
That would be really nice, yeah. So recently we did a special show on our podcast about travelling with a partner or friend, and it was like a how not to kill each other guide. So are you guys worried about that aspect of the trip? You know, two people spending all day, every day together?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Andy and I have only really just become friends recently, but we've been very honest with each other and have said, you know, do we have annoying little habits that will sort of plague the other person? But the great thing about stand-up paddleboarding is when you're on your board, you're on your board. You're separate from the other person quite distinctly, because, you know, it's just you and for us, our origin boards. But we have also sort of said that we will need our own downtime, and we were thinking of come up with some kind of elaborate hand signalling.
That's a good idea.
Just saying to the other person, I'm just having a really bad day, and I'm sort of saying, well, A, do you need a bit of chocolate, because, you know, maybe they need a bit of a lift. But we're also, both of us absolutely love music. So both of us, Andy has a background in kind of overseeing events and musicals and working the West End, and I just have a love and passion for all music, and I love to sing. So I think a good pair of waterproof headphones and just some days just putting your head down and sort of getting on with it and saying, you know what, I'll see you at lunchtime at this spot. But yeah, we've been very honest about it and sort of said, you know, if we need to just discuss things, then we will, and if we need our own space, then we'll just respect the other person.
Definitely, yeah. Like, that's basically what we said in the episode as well. Like, without getting too deep about it, in every relationship, it's honesty. That's the thing that gets you through, like, any trip, really, isn't it?
Absolutely. And like I said, you know, Andy knows about this now, but I was going to have a secret stash of chocolate. And as a woman, no offence, but as a woman, you've got to have that secret stash right there.
Yeah.
So he may now nick it, which is, you know, not very good. But like, it's just having sort of that ability to know that if someone's down or if someone just needs a hug. Actually, we're big believers in the S Tribe in giving someone a hug, or just doing a silly dance for like 10 seconds, or putting on some funky music and, you know, doing some burpees or star jumps or scaring local nature or something, just to pick that other person up. So yeah, I'm really glad that we're doing it as a pair. I think that's definitely good for both of us.
Yeah, definitely. You always need something to get those endorphins going and stuff. And that actually reminds me of when we first met you. We had a really great chat with you and Andy, and then Nick went to shake your hand, and you were like, I don't do handshakes, I only do hugs.
Yeah, sorry, it's inbuilt into me now. It's just
No, it's good.
Yes, community.
Yeah, no, it's good. Your chocolate kind of answered this in a weird way, but are there any other tips for anyone that wants to do an adventure trip like this?
Yeah, something that actually both Andy and I have come across, and part of the S Tribe as well, is it's really easy to say that you're going to do a trip like this, but if you want to do a trip, go and put it in the diary and then book your flight. That's what we did. We sort of shook hands on it. We met a week later and we booked our flights that day.
That's amazing.
To go out to Germany, because otherwise it's one of those, at some point in the future we'll do this. You know, neither of us, we're both a bit like, we've got apprehensions about the trip and we're really excited, but we are also both a little bit, you know, nervous about it. But
of course, yeah,
we're doing it now. It's in the diaries, the website's up, everything's going, and we are really excited to just get going now. You know, this whole preparation thing is wonderful, but we kind of just can't wait to get on the river, to be honest with you.
Definitely.
So I would say our advice to anyone who wants to do something like this, just go and book it, and speak to people who you really respect and who really know you. And if they're saying, actually, that's a little bit too crazy or it's a little bit too dangerous, well, take their advice and listen to it. But if you really want to do something, just go ahead and do it.
Yeah, like it. So when is the date when you guys are actually starting?
So So we fly out the 1st of March, so 2 weeks on Tuesday, and we start just 2 days later on the 3rd of March.
3rd of March. And how can people have a look at what you're doing and keep up to date?
Well, the best way to do it is by our website, which is www.supthedanube, so that's supthedanube.com. And you can follow our blog that way, and you can sort of read a bit more about us as well. So we've got some information on who we are, what our backgrounds are, and that's the easiest way to do it. You can also follow both Andy and I on Twitter. We have our own Twitter account, so mine is just at Kate Davis 1706. And through there, you'll get links to our blogs as well and sort of any updates as we go along. Or you can just find our Facebook page, which is also Sup The Danube. So all of those will get you to following us as we go down.
Great. And we already do follow you. And yeah, we're going to keep track of your progress. And hopefully, yeah, when you're done, you guys can come on the show and tell us all the crazy stories that you've got, if that's all right.
That would be awesome. And also just to say that if you guys or any of your followers do have any questions throughout the journey, just ping them over to us via message, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can with answers.
Definitely. Okay, well, it's so good to talk to you today. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, absolutely.
Good luck, seriously. Like, I'm sure you don't need it, but it's going to be amazing, and we're very, very jealous.
Well, like I said, the offer for anyone to come and join us for a few days is always there, so just give us a shout. And yeah, really super excited to hear about your guys kind of going off and doing things and following this podcast as well. So yeah, super excited.
So that was Kate, and yeah, like we said, we're going to hope to get those guys on the show in a few months so we can hear all about how the trip went. Make sure you guys follow their progress on social media. Definitely.
And also be sure to check out our next episode 8 of What the Faux Travel podcast, because we'll be talking to a guy called Carl Watson, and you might know him from YouTube because he has made a load of travel documentaries of places where he's travelled around the world. His biggest one is New York to...
Other way around.
Oh, wrong way around. Hong Kong to New York, and they're amazing. So be sure to check that out from March 1st, 2016.
See you then, mother foers.
Bitches.
Don't forget, you can get in contact on @Faux Podcast. That's faux spelled PHO. Or What the Faux Podcast on Instagram. You can also email us whatthefaupodcast@gmail.com. This podcast was sponsored by Ant Podcast Management. For help getting your professional podcast up and running, visit ant-podcastmanagement.com.